Sometimes you don't realize how powerful you've become until they look at you like they just saw a ghost of everything they lost. Hey folks, imagine this. You were once a quiet campfire in the cold, warm, consistent, safe, but they got bored. They wanted fireworks, noise, chaos. They didn't realize your steady flame was the only thing keeping them from freezing. So they left, chasing sparks that died before the night even ended. And now they're shivering in the cold, staring back at the fire they used to have. Only now, it's not a campfire anymore. It's a goddamn wildfire, and they can't even get close. That's what happens when you grow in silence. At first, they thought the silence meant defeat. They thought your calm meant you gave up. They thought you'd stay stuck, scrolling, wondering, waiting. But let's break that lie real quick. Silence doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're busy becoming unrecognizable. You weren't waiting for them. You were working on you. And let me tell you something, my friends. People don't regret leaving someone who stayed the same. They regret leaving someone who leveled up the moment they left. Now, maybe you were told that if they walked away, they never cared. Maybe someone said, if they loved you, they wouldn't have left. And sure, maybe that's true for some. But here's the kicker. Not everyone leaves because you weren't enough. Some people leave because they didn't think you'd grow without them, because they depended on your brokenness to feel whole themselves. Let that sink in. They thought they were the prize. They thought you'd fall apart. But now they're looking at you from the outside. And it's hitting them. They didn't lose a person. They lost a future. They lost peace. They lost loyalty. They lost the version of themselves that felt grounded beside you. And you didn't say a word. You didn't have to. Because when your presence spoke calm and your absence screamed value, that's when they realized they didn't just walk away from a person, they walked away from a mirror that made them feel seen. And now that mirror's gone. You see, this journey you're on, this transformation, isn't about showing them anything. It's about showing you what you're made of. The gym, that's therapy. The discipline, that's a weapon. The silence, that's where warriors train. You're not doing this to win them back. You're doing this so that when they look back, you're too far ahead to recognize. Like Epictetus said, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. That's exactly what you're doing. Becoming, not begging. Evolving, not explaining. And here's a little fun truth for you. When you're busy working on yourself, your glow-up becomes their biggest karma. Not because you're trying to make them jealous, but because your peace is louder than their attention. Your new standards speak louder than your old pain. And your silence, it haunts louder than any "I miss you" ever could. So stay with me, because in this video we're going to break it all down. Not just what happens to you, but what happens to them when they see the new you, the stronger you, the emotionally bulletproof you, the version of you they didn't think you had in you. And remember this, you are not who they left. You are who you chose to become. Type it in the comments right now, too far to reach. Let the world know you didn't just survive. You transformed, you rebuilt, you rose. Now take a breath and let's dive deeper. Number 1, they never saw this coming. You will not be punished for your anger. You will be punished by your anger. There comes a moment in every man's life when everything flips. Not because he begged, not because he got revenge, but because he quietly became everything they thought he never would. That's the moment they feel it. The shift. And the craziest part, they never saw it coming, not even a little. They thought you'd stay exactly where they left you, waiting, wondering, maybe even breaking. But instead, you were building, not for them, for yourself. That's the kind of shift that doesn't make noise. It creates echoes. It doesn't shout. it haunts. At first, they didn't take you seriously. They assumed your silence meant sadness, not strategy. They thought your calm was confusion, not clarity. They expected tears, calls, apologies. But what they didn't understand is that your silence wasn't the end. It was the incubation period. You weren't breaking down, you were sharpening, like a blade resting in fire, quiet and unseen. You were becoming unrecognizable. And now that you've started to glow, to rise, to reclaim your energy, they can't look away. And that's when the regret sets in. Let's pause here for a second, my friends. Why do they believe your value ends the moment they leave? Why do they assume the story stops when they walk out of the chapter? It's because they think they were the plot. They thought they were the climax, the highlight, the reason you shined at all. But here's the truth they never considered. Your growth was never tied to their approval. Your evolution didn't begin because they left. It began because you finally decided to stop shrinking to fit inside their comfort zone. That's why the shift cuts so deep, because now they're not just watching you change, they're watching you rise without them. And that's a pain no apology can soften. Picture it like this. You were once the quiet sunrise in their life, steady, warm, consistent. But they chased neon lights instead, thought they needed fireworks, something louder, something flashier, and now they realize those lights burned out fast. And that sunrise, it became a damn wildfire, controlled, radiant, and untouchable. That's what they never expected. You didn't become louder, you became stronger, and that strength, it doesn't beg, it doesn't call, it doesn't explain, it simply stands. And when they see it, when they really see it, it stings more than anything you could have said with words. You know why this journey is so difficult, because real transformation happens when no one's watching, when you're alone, with your pain, your questions, your doubt, when the phone doesn't ring, when no one checks in, when they're out living, laughing, moving on, and you're sitting in the quiet, choosing not to break. That's where the power is built. That's where the new you is born. And that's exactly what they didn't see happening. Because the world teaches people that healing looks like posting quotes and taking revenge selfies. But real healing looks like discipline, like silence, like showing up for yourself in ways they never did. You stopped performing, you stopped chasing, you stopped trying to be understood by people committed to misunderstanding you, and now your peace is too expensive to bargain with. That's the part they never predicted. They thought they were walking away from a chapter, but they were walking away from the whole damn book. And the next few chapters, you're writing them in ink they can't touch. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." And my friends, you've done exactly that. You didn't stoop low, you didn't lash out, you didn't seek attention. You rebuilt in silence. You rose with grace. You let your absence speak what your presence couldn't. And now they feel it. Not because you punished them, but because you no longer need them. And in a world where everyone wants attention, your indifference becomes the loudest scream. So let them feel the shift. Let them feel what it's like to watch someone they underestimated become someone they no longer recognize. Not with bitterness, not with drama, with purpose, with clarity, with calm. They left thinking they could always come back to the old version of you. But that version, he doesn't live here anymore. You outgrew the past. You outgrew the pain. You outgrew the person who once questioned his own worth just to keep someone else comfortable. Now you're unshakable, and not because nothing hurts anymore, but because you learned how to hurt with dignity. You learned how to sit with the ache and still show up. That's the kind of strength they never saw coming. And that's the kind of man they now regret walking away from. Type this in the comments if you feel this deep. They never saw this coming. Let them read it. Let them wonder. Let the world see the man who didn't just survive. He shifted. Stay with me, because next we're going even deeper into what happens when your glow becomes too powerful to ignore. Number 2, no announcement, just evolution. The tiger doesn't tell the jungle it's a tiger, it just moves, and the jungle knows. That's what real growth looks like, my friends. No announcement, no loud declaration, no dramatic post to prove a point, just movement, quiet, consistent, grounded, and sooner or later, the people who thought you were done, they start to notice. At first, they think it's nothing, just a phase. Maybe you're working out a bit, or posting less, or hanging with new people. They laugh, shrug it off, tell themselves you're just trying to cope. But what they don't realize is that you've stopped coping and started climbing. You're not trying to make them jealous. You're not trying to trigger regret. You're simply done performing. You've decided to build in silence and let your actions echo. See, this is where a lot of people get confused. In their world, everything needs to be shown. Proof of healing, proof of moving on, proof of power. But Stoic power isn't about proof. It's about peace. It's not about being loud. It's about being unchanged by noise. You're not out here to be impressive. You're out here to be intentional. Let me give you a metaphor that explains it perfectly. Imagine an iceberg. On the surface, people only see the tip, that little piece floating above the water. But beneath the surface, that's where the real mass is. The power, the foundation, the danger. Your growth is the same way. On the outside, maybe it doesn't look like much has changed, but beneath, you're shifting your entire life. Routines, mindset, habits, energy, boundaries. It's deep, it's massive, it's dangerous to anyone who thought you were small. That's the part they never factored in. They thought leaving you meant leaving a version of you frozen in time, like you'd stay exactly as they remembered. Same emotions, same hopes, same availability. But the truth is, their absence created space. And in that space, you evolved, quietly, patiently, like nature does. No announcement, just seasons. First, you shed. Then you rooted, then you bloomed, and now they're seeing it. They won't admit it, of course. Their ego won't let them, but they scroll through your page a little slower now. They check that story one more time. They read your captions with curiosity, not because you're showing off, but because your energy feels different, calmer, sharper, more self-assured. And that stillness, that quiet composure, it's more unsettling than rage ever could be. Because they expected noise, they expected you to fight, to cry, to post sad quotes about letting go. But instead, you disappeared into your own lane. And now you're moving in silence, and the results are starting to speak for you. Your glow isn't a performance, it's a byproduct of healing. Your presence isn't loud, it's magnetic. People feel it before you say a word. That's what scares them now. You know what else scares them? That they can't reach you like they used to. The version of you that answered texts right away, that gave second chances too freely, that tried to fix things even when it wasn't his mess. He's gone. And in his place stands a man who doesn't need closure, who doesn't need validation, who doesn't need to be chosen to feel valuable. You've become the thing they thought they'd never lose. And now you're the one they'll never get back. You're no longer responding from pain. You're choosing from power. And I know, folks, I know this path gets lonely. I know there are moments you wonder, do they even notice I've changed? Do they even care? But that's not the point. You're not doing this for them. You're doing it for you. Because chasing closure is just another way of handing your peace to someone who couldn't hold it the first time. And you've worked too hard to go back to being misunderstood by the same people you had to heal from. You don't need to explain why you're not the same. You don't need to announce your transformation. The people who left will feel it, and the people meant for you will see it without needing proof. Like Marcus Aurelius said, be tolerant with others and strict with yourself. That's exactly what you're doing. You've stopped wasting energy convincing others of your worth and started holding yourself to higher standards. You've raised your own bar. You've changed the way you speak to yourself. You've upgraded your circle. You've built rituals, not routines. That's the difference between surviving a breakup and being reborn from one. So now, when they come back, and they will come back, maybe not in person, maybe just in quiet curiosity, they won't recognize the man they left. They'll see someone stronger, someone steadier, someone whose silence says more than their explanations ever could. And here's the beauty of it all. You don't need to block them. You don't need to erase them. You don't need to prove anything. Just keep living, keep rising, keep choosing stillness over spite, purpose over performance, growth over games. Let your glow be your boundary. Let your evolution be your response. No announcement, no explanation, just elevation. Type it in the comments. I evolve in silence. Let them feel it. Let yourself feel it. Because what's coming next, it's not a comeback. It's a complete reinvention. Stay with me. We're just getting started. Number 3, your glow-up isn't loud. It's unignorable. A lion doesn't turn around when a small dog barks. That's the energy now, not loud, not flashy, but unshakable. You're not screaming to be seen, you're glowing to the point where they can't look away. And that glow, it didn't come from attention, it came from isolation. From the moments they thought you were breaking, but really, you were becoming. Let's be honest, my friends. In a world addicted to noise, silence is scary. In a society where everyone's trying to go viral, your refusal to explain yourself becomes powerful. When you stop chasing validation, when you stop needing to be seen, that's when people start to notice you the most. That's when your glow becomes unignorable. Not because you're shouting your worth, but because you embody it. And what's funny, they thought you were done, thought you were just the nice guy who got hurt, someone they could walk away from, maybe circle back to later. But here's what they missed. The pain didn't destroy you. It activated you. The silence didn't break you. It built you. You see, your glow-up didn't happen in the spotlight. It happened in the shadows. In the late nights when you chose discipline over distractions. In the early mornings when you didn't hit snooze because your goals meant more than your comfort. In the small decisions, what you read, who you cut off, how you handled your emotions. It wasn't loud. It wasn't Instagram-worthy. But now, it's undeniable. And here's the real twist. You weren't trying to impress them. You weren't trying to make them regret. You were simply trying to find yourself again. And in doing so, you became the version of you that makes their silence feel like a mistake. Not because you're petty, but because you're powerful now in ways they never imagined. Let me give you a visual. Imagine walking into a room you used to share with someone. Same walls, same space. But now the energy is completely different. The pictures are gone. The scent has changed. The vibe is unfamiliar. That's you now. You're the same man on the outside, but internally you're completely rebuilt. Same face, same name, new spirit, new soul. That's what they can't process. And here's the beautiful part: they'll never get a front row seat to this version of you. They lost that privilege when they mistook your calm for weakness, your loyalty for neediness, your silence for surrender. What they didn't realize is that the glow-up starts the moment you stop seeking closure and start giving yourself everything they couldn't. It's not about being better than them, it's about being better than who you were when they had access to you. And it shows in your posture, in your peace, in how unbothered you are now. That smile they see. It's not for attention, it's for survival. It's proof that you can feel deeply and still rise quietly, that you can be hurt and still choose healing, that you can lose someone and not lose yourself. They'll pretend not to notice at first. Trust me, they'll act like nothing's changed, but they'll feel it in the way you don't engage anymore, in the way you don't flinch at their presence, in the way your name is now whispered instead of shouted. They'll hear about your growth through mutual friends. They'll see the shift in your energy, and it will haunt them, not because you were cruel, but because you were graceful when you had every reason not to be. That's the kind of glow that doesn't fade. And listen, folks, it's not always easy. Some days the silence will sting. Some nights the memories will whisper. And there might even be moments when you question if they ever really cared. But just remember this: if they truly saw your value, you wouldn't have had to rebuild without them. You wouldn't have had to glow alone. And now that you've done the work, now that you've learned how to breathe without them, don't go dim just because they've finally turned to look back. Your glow-up is not a performance. It's a process. It's not a show. It's a statement. It says, "I'm still here, but I'm not who you left." And that message, it lands harder than any angry text, any emotional plea, any late-night call, because what truly shakes someone is when they realize they are no longer needed in the story they thought they helped build. Marcus Aurelius said it perfectly. If someone is able to show me that what I think or do is not right, I will happily change, for I seek the truth by which no one was ever truly harmed. You, my friend, were willing to change. You were willing to evolve. And now that you've found truth about your worth, your path, your purpose, you won't be harmed by the past anymore. You've outgrown their memory. You've outpaced their presence. You've outclassed their exit. So when they see the new you, don't flinch, don't hide, don't downplay the man you've become just to make them more comfortable. You owe no one your dimmed light just because they were blinded by your potential before. Let them look, let them wonder, let them wish, but don't let them back into a place they couldn't handle the first time. And if this part of the journey hits you in the chest, if you know what it means to shine in silence, then go ahead and type it in the comments. This glow is for me, not for them, not for revenge, not for attention, for you. Because when the glow comes from within, no one can take it away. Stay with me, it gets deeper from here. Number 4, the mirror effect. Their regret has a front row seat. We don't see things as they are, we see them as we are. Here's the thing, my friends, people don't always regret leaving you right away. Sometimes they even celebrate it. They post pictures with new faces, throw around words like freedom, growth, and finally choosing myself. At first glance, it looks like they've moved on without a scratch, like you were just a chapter, a temporary lesson, a stepping stone. But that's not the full story, not even close, because real regret doesn't hit like thunder. It sneaks in like a whisper. It starts in quiet places, late at night, when the notifications stop and the masks come off. It creeps into their mind when they walk by a spot you both used to visit, and suddenly the memory hits harder than expected. It's when a song plays that used to mean nothing to them until now. It's not loud, it's not dramatic, it's a slow burn ache. That's the mirror effect. You see, they don't just miss you, they're haunted by what you became without them. Because here's what they never planned for. Your glow-up came with a reflection, and that reflection doesn't just show you, it shows them who they were when they left, who they became after they walked away, and most painfully, who they could have been if they had stayed. That's where the real regret lives. At first, they didn't notice. They were too distracted, too wrapped up in the rush of new attention, new people, new distractions. But new doesn't mean better. And eventually, they start to compare, not out loud, not to their friends, but deep down in their quietest moments. They compare the way others talk to them and realize no one listens the way you did. They compare the way others show up and realize no one shows up with your consistency. They compare the comfort, the honesty, the peace, and suddenly it all feels louder in its absence. Because your kind of love wasn't chaos. It was calm. It wasn't loud. It was loyal. It didn't seek to impress. It held space. And that kind of presence doesn't leave quietly. It leaves an echo, one that bounces around their life long after you're gone. Now they're sitting in the audience of their own choices, watching your evolution like a show they once had front row seats to, and left before the story even got good. That's the hardest part. Watching you become the man they didn't believe existed. Watching you live the peace they never chose to build. Watching you thrive in the silence they left behind. Because, let's be honest, they didn't think you'd rise. They thought they were your best memory, that they were the highlight, that everything after them would just feel like a copy. But now you've leveled up, healed, grown, evolved. And here they are, watching. And the mirror, it doesn't lie. The mirror shows them that you didn't stay stuck, that you didn't chase, that you didn't collapse under the weight of heartbreak. Instead, you reconstructed every scar, every doubt, every unanswered question. You used it all as bricks. And now they look at you and see what's possible when someone refuses to shrink after loss. And guess what? That reflection doesn't always flatter them. Because next to your stillness, their chaos looks exposed. Next to your composure, their impulsiveness feels reckless. Next to your growth, their comfort zone feels like a cage. That's the mirror effect. It doesn't attack them, it doesn't shame them, it simply reflects. And that's what hurts, because it forces them to face the truth. You weren't the one holding the connection back. They were. You weren't too much. You were too real. And now that you're gone, they feel it, not as guilt, but as void. You ever notice how people start to circle back when you finally stop caring? They check in, they like something, they drop a subtle message. Hey, just thinking about you. But it's not about you. It's about them feeling the absence of the version of themselves that only existed in your presence. Because when they were with you, they felt more grounded, more valued, more seen. And now that you're no longer their mirror, they're struggling to see themselves clearly. Let's be real, folks. You didn't leave with hate. You left with dignity. You didn't slam the door. You closed it quietly, locked it peacefully, and walked away with your head high. That's why it stings now. Because you're not angry. You're just gone. Not out of spite, but out of self-respect. That's what they never saw coming. Marcus Aurelius said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." And while you've spent your time painting your mind with peace, growth, discipline, they've been coloring theirs with confusion, second-guessing, and regret. And here's the most powerful part. You don't have to do a thing. You don't have to reach out. You don't have to prove your growth. You don't need to post anything for them to see it. They already feel it. They already know. Because your glow makes them question their judgment. Your calm makes them question their chaos. Your new energy makes them realize they didn't just lose a relationship, they lost access. So don't turn around, don't dull your light, don't explain your evolution to those who thought you'd stay stagnant. You are the mirror now, a reflection of what happens when a man refuses to fold. Type it in the comments. Let the mirror speak. Let that be your mantra. Let that be your silence. You don't have to remind anyone of what they lost. Your life is already doing it for you. Stay with me, because next we'll break down what happens when you stop chasing and start rising. Number 5. Healed men don't chase. They create distance with dignity. When you stop chasing the wrong things, you give the right things a chance to catch you. There's something powerful about a man who no longer runs toward the fire, but walks away from the smoke. Not with bitterness, not with drama, but with dignity. See, they expected you to chase, to argue, to explain, to spiral. They thought your silence was just temporary, a break before the begging. That's what they were counting on, because people who leave expecting a return aren't looking for a breakup. They're looking for control. But you did something different. You broke the pattern. You didn't run after them. You didn't send the late-night texts. You didn't throw your pride away for a response that was never going to give you peace. You chose something harder, something higher. You chose distance, not as punishment, but as protection, not as revenge, but as respect for yourself. Let's be real, folks. We live in a world where being loud equals power, where chasing equals care, where if you don't react, they say you never felt anything at all. But here's the truth they don't tell you. Reaction is not proof of love. Reaction is often a sign of lack, of control, of clarity, of self. A healed man doesn't move from his wounds. He moves from wisdom. And wisdom doesn't chase. Wisdom chooses. They thought you would beg because that's what others did. They thought you'd need answers, closure, one last conversation to make sense of it all. But when you didn't give them what they expected, when you chose peace over chaos, that's when they really felt your absence. Because your distance wasn't cold, it was calculated. It said, I felt it, I processed it, and I'm not available for what breaks me. That kind of detachment doesn't scream, it echoes, it lingers in their mind because they can't label it. They can't say, he's bitter, because you're not. They can't say, he's trying to hurt me, because you're not. You're just gone. And that quiet exit, that's what haunts them the most. Think about it. When someone expects you to come back and you don't, it forces them to sit with themselves, to feel their own choices, to confront what they thought they could avoid, because you're no longer filling the silence. You're no longer playing the role they assigned you. You're just free, and that's the thing they didn't expect. For your healing to actually heal you, for it to remove the need to convince, to chase, to perform. Because once a man tastes inner peace, he's not going to trade it for breadcrumbs. He's not going to beg to be understood by someone who never took the time to understand him in the first place. That's where your power comes from now, not in your words, but in your withholding. You don't chase what chooses distance. You don't explain your worth to someone who questioned it. You don't argue with a memory. You build from it. And let's be honest, walking away isn't easy. Not when you cared, not when you showed up, stayed consistent, gave your all. It's not weak to have loved deeply. But it is wise to know when that love has become a cage. And that's the choice you made, to stop feeding what no longer fed you. They didn't expect that. They didn't prepare for the version of you who chooses peace over proximity, who doesn't flinch at their return, who can hear from them and not react. That kind of man, that's rare, that's dangerous, not because he's violent, but because he's untouchable. Now they're left with the distance, the silence, the unanswered message they never sent, because they know your energy won't open the door like it used to, not because you hate them, but because you finally love yourself more. And that's the shift. That's the new standard. You're not proving anything. You're protecting everything you've built inside. A healed man doesn't chase. He doesn't perform. He doesn't force connections. He lets them go, with clarity, not resentment, with stillness, not suffering, because he knows that whoever couldn't hold him in his pain doesn't deserve to watch him in his peace. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy," but I'll take it even deeper. The best revenge isn't silence, it's indifference. It's living in such a way that their choices no longer define your direction. You've chosen your direction now, forward. You don't stare at doors that closed themselves. You don't chase shadows in search of the old light. You move with purpose, with power, with a heart that's still open but not desperate. Because you've learned the truth. Real love doesn't require you to abandon yourself. Real connection doesn't ask you to break just to be kept. And if they couldn't see that when you were soft, present, and available, they don't deserve to witness you now, strong, grounded, and undeniably whole. So if you're feeling this right now, if you've walked away, not because it was easy, but because it was right, I want you to write it in the comments. I protect my peace. Let the world know. Let them know you're not the same man they left. Let them feel the space you've created, not as punishment, but as a quiet boundary. A line that says, you had access to the old me. The new me doesn't chase. Stay with me. The rise continues. Number 6. From wounded to unshakable. The rise of Stoic energy. A man who has mastered himself has no desire to control anyone else. Epictetus. Let's talk about the part they'll never see, the in-between, the days you woke up with a weight in your chest but still showed up, the nights you couldn't sleep because the silence was too loud, yet you didn't pick up the phone, you sat in it, you wrestled with it, and slowly you rose from it. That's the part no one claps for, the hidden climb, the unseen discipline, the silent rebuilding of a man who once gave everything and was left with nothing but his own reflection. They don't see that version of you. They only see what you've become, calm, collected, powerful. But beneath that was chaos, pain, and the decision to never let that chaos lead again. That's the rise of Stoic energy, because a man doesn't become Stoic by accident. He becomes Stoic through fire, not because he wants to seem cold, but because he refuses to be burned again. He's not numb, he's aware. He's not emotionless, he's in control. And now, that control isn't for others, it's for himself. They don't expect that. They expect brokenness to turn bitter. But you didn't become bitter, you became better. They expected anger, but all they got was stillness. And that stillness, that's what disturbs them now. Because Stoic energy doesn't beg, it doesn't explain, it doesn't prove, it simply is. And when you embody that, when your silence holds more weight than their words, they feel it in places they can't describe. Let me paint a picture. Imagine a storm, thunder, wind, everything shaking. Now imagine a mountain in the middle of it all. Unmoving, unbothered. That's you now. That's who you became. You were once part of the storm, caught up in emotion, in need, in confusion. But now, you've become the mountain, and the storm no longer scares you, because you learned how to stand still within it. That's what they missed while they were gone. The transformation didn't happen overnight. It wasn't a glow-up for show. It was a slow burn, forged in discipline, silence, and hard choices. And now you carry a different energy. One that doesn't chase, doesn't panic, and damn sure doesn't collapse. You've become a man who knows himself, not in theory, but through trial. You know what it feels like to be abandoned. You know what it feels like to love someone who didn't stay. You know the taste of confusion, the sting of false hope, the weight of unanswered questions. And instead of pretending it didn't hurt, you owned it. You sat in that pain like a warrior sits in training, not to suffer, but to strengthen. Every moment of weakness became a lesson. Every wave of emotion became resistance training. And now you're grounded. Not because life got easier, but because you got stronger. They can feel that now, even from a distance. They feel it in your boundaries, in your silence, in your ability to walk away from things that once triggered you. That's not emotional numbness. That's emotional mastery. And let's be real, not everyone can handle that version of you, because Stoic energy doesn't entertain chaos. It doesn't make space for games. It doesn't get high off mixed signals or drawn into emotional manipulation. It just observes, and then it decides, this isn't for me. That decision, that's your power. They thought they could return to the same dynamic, that you'd still be available, still answering, still explaining. But that man, he died in the quiet. He was replaced by someone who doesn't need validation from the ones who left. Someone who doesn't hand over his peace just to feel close again. Now you don't beg for closure, you embody it. You don't seek clarity, you live in it. You don't wait to be chosen, you choose yourself every day. And this energy, this grounded, calm, stoic energy, it's not a costume, it's not a defense mechanism, it's earned. Earned through restraint, through letting go, through doing the work no one saw, through walking away without slamming the door. That's what they feel when they look at you now. Not anger, not pain, but power. A quiet power, a stable presence, the kind that doesn't rush, doesn't force, doesn't crumble. And here's the beautiful truth, this version of you. He doesn't need revenge. He doesn't need recognition. He doesn't even need to be understood, because his peace no longer depends on anyone else. He knows what he brings. He knows what he's worth. And if someone can't see it, they're not for him. Let them watch. Let them wonder. Let them sit in the space you used to fill. Not out of spite, but out of balance. You're not pulling away to teach them a lesson. You're simply walking in the direction of your own evolution. And they're not part of the next chapter. So if you're reading this, if you feel this shift happening inside of you, know that you're not crazy, you're not cold, you're becoming, and it's okay if they don't understand it. It's okay if they misread it. You don't need to correct the narrative. You are the narrative now. Type it in the comments, from wounded to unshakable. That's your declaration, not for them, for you, because the rise is real, the shift is silent, and the power, it's permanent. Stay with me, it only gets stronger from here. Number 7, when they realize you're not coming back. Sometimes you don't realize the door has been closed until you reach for the handle and it doesn't turn. At first, they don't believe it. Not really. They think you're just giving space, cooling off, that eventually you'll come around, because that's what you used to do, right? You were the one who showed up, the one who forgave, the one who made excuses for their distance, their silence, their inconsistency. You were always the safe one, the steady one, the one who stayed even when staying hurt. So they wait, silently, casually, watching. They scroll past your name, hover over your profile, maybe even click once or twice just to see what you're up to. They tell themselves, he'll reach out eventually, maybe next week, maybe next month, maybe when something reminds him of me. That's what they whisper to their own ego, because the idea that you could move on without looking back, That thought never even crossed their mind. But now, it's been too long, too quiet, too calm, too final. They start to feel it, not in words, but in energy. That subtle shift where your name no longer reaches for theirs, where your attention no longer hovers around their orbit, where you've stopped reacting, stopped caring, stopped needing. And it hits different now, because your silence doesn't feel like a pause anymore. It feels like a goodbye. That's the part that breaks them, quietly, slowly, in waves. It's when they check your story and see the glow they never expected. Not the staged kind, not the trying to show I've moved on kind, but that effortless glow that only comes when a man has reclaimed himself. When he's no longer thinking about what he lost, but what he's building, what he's becoming. And now they feel the contrast, because no matter who they're with, no matter what new faces enter their life, your presence left an imprint. The way you made them feel safe, the way you listened without needing to fix, the way you stayed calm, even in chaos. That's not something easily replaced. That's not a vibe they can just pick up again with someone else. And now they know you're not angry, you're not bitter, you're just not coming back. And that, my friends, is the most powerful position a man can hold. Not one of revenge, not one of ego, but one of release. Because when a man fully lets go, with grace and not resentment, he becomes unreachable. Not physically, but emotionally, spiritually, energetically. The version of you they once knew is gone. Not hidden, not waiting, gone. You outgrew the space they kept trying to fit you into. You outpaced the rhythm they danced to. You evolved while they stood still. And now the distance isn't just emotional, it's dimensional. They reach out, maybe subtly, a "hey" message, a like on an old photo, a random emoji reply to a story. But you're not biting, not because you're trying to prove anything, but because you don't need what they're offering anymore. The craving is gone, the illusion is broken, the spell is lifted. And they feel that. They feel it in the way you don't flinch. In the way your responses are light but not open, respectful but no longer available, because you've learned something sacred, that just because someone was a part of your past doesn't mean they deserve a place in your future. They had a chance, they had access, they had all of you, not just the version you showed the world, but the raw, vulnerable, loyal version that shows up fully. And they walked away from it, thinking it would still be there, thinking it would still answer, thinking they could come back when they were ready. But life doesn't work like that. Healing doesn't work like that, because healing, real healing, comes with new standards. And your new standard is you. Your peace is no longer up for negotiation. Your time is no longer handed out freely. Your love isn't a revolving door. It's a locked gate, and only those who value it will be handed the key. And they're on the other side now, watching, regretting, wondering. But you're too far in your purpose to turn around. You've built too much peace to invite old chaos. You've found too much strength to re-explain your worth. That's when it clicks for them, finally, painfully. He's not coming back. Not because he hates me, not because he wants me to suffer, but because he's finally walking in the direction of his own destiny. And the version of him that would have turned around, that man doesn't live here anymore. So if you're that man, the one who stayed quiet, stayed grounded, and rebuilt from the ashes, I need you to hear this. You didn't lose them. You found you, and there's no greater victory than that. Now type it in the comments. I'm not coming back. Say it, claim it, stand in it, not out of pride, but out of power. Let it be a message to your past, your pain, your old patterns, that this version of you doesn't shrink for comfort anymore. And if this message hit you deep, If you felt the truth rising through every word, go ahead and like this video, hit that subscribe button and turn on all notifications. Because what we're building here, it's not just content, it's a movement of men rising silently, powerfully, unshakably. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, keep walking forward. You're not going back.